Kathleen.
Yeah, thank you. Well, happy Women's History Month. It started March 1st, and as you know, ends March 31st. I hadn't realized Women's History Month got started back in 1911. Who knew, right? So in any case, but we've been celebrating it. It's obviously very on brand for the Michigan Council of Women in Technology, whose mission is to make Michigan the #1 state for girls and women in tech. And we're really excited this year. We have, of course, as usual, MCWT is packed full of initiatives and projects and programs and events. But this is the very first year that we are having our own Women's Internet, a celebration of Women's Day. Normally, our president, Grace Hansen, is speaking at an event this week that Slalom, one of our partners, is sponsoring, but we are sponsoring our own day, and that will be taking place on March 15th. The title of it, if you go to our website later to register, is Inspire Inclusion and Innovation, with a tagline of Women Redefining the Tech Landscape. And it is part of something that I talked about, I think, at least on our last call, that for the first time when I've been volunteering for MCWT for 2 decades, for the very first time, we are taking some of our resources and devoting them to women techpreneurs. Not in the same way some of the major VCs are, mainly to be an assist, right, for some of the efforts that have been going on for a long time and continue to blossom in Detroit. But we're really excited about this particular all-day event. It takes place on, as I said, Friday, March 15th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's being sponsored by Stellantis and a company that I think is near and dear to all 3 of our hearts, Bamboo Detroit, founded by my good friend, Amanda Lewan. And Amanda is opening her 3rd Bamboo site in Ann Arbor next month, but we're going to be having this at the Ann Arbor, at the Royal Oak site, which was opened, I think, about 1.5 to 2 years ago, maybe longer. But in any case, this is focused on women techpreneurs, would-be women entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, people who serve women entrepreneurs, specifically with a tech feel, if you will. The MC for the event is also a good friend of mine, and I think no stranger to this program, Cindy Warner, who has a very robust career in the technology industry at Salesforce.com, at AWS, at Alex Partners, at IBM in her early career. But for the last 6 years, she's been working with a team stealth up until the last several years, but now it's a big company called a company she founded called the 360 of Me, which is all about ethical data sharing and ethical data security. In any case, she's emceeing the event, and she's a leader par excellence, and so it'll be a very well-run event. But on top of that, she's just exciting and funny, and it'll be fun to have her there. Some of the panelists and people who you will meet if you come include Christina Fair, who is the former COO for Rocket Fiber, which of course we know was sold. And at one point, because I did a Diva Tech Talk podcast with her, I know her history quite well. She was part of the innovation team at Rocket itself, and part of that lab where Dan Gilbert was trying to fund a whole bunch of people who were at his company out into their own ventures. And she has founded a company called Reconnect, which has to do with events and actually it's much more than that. Microsoft is a partner of hers, and she does all sorts of events and meditation and ways for people to reconnect. And another company called HUM, H-U-M. So she's one of the speakers. Another speaker is Jasmine Lee, who is the managing director for Vetted. Then we have a lawyer, Jasmine Crump Gibson Esquire, who's the co-founder and managing partner for, it's hard for me to see some of this, I should have turned the lights off, for the Great Lakes Legal Group. Amanda herself, who is an entrepreneur for over a decade now, will be a speaker. Alexis Dishman, who is the Chief Learning Officer for Community Entrepreneurship Fund. Megan Ward, who is the founder for Femology. Monica Wheat, who to me is sort of a legend, when it comes to the funding of women techpreneurs, and who has been for a long time the managing director of Techstars, but she does a whole bunch of other things too, both globally and regionally. And another good friend of mine, president and CEO of Fast Tech Global for, I guess she's the CEO now for a decade, but Carrie has been part of Fast Tech Global for almost 22 years, Carrie Pashlaw. Those are just some of the names of the people who will be gracing the stage and be part of the panels. I think because today is only March 4th, I have a funny, sneaky feeling that Lauren Daniels, who for MCWT has been pulling together, along with Staria Coppins, has been pulling together this event. We may get some additional surprises and really fun people who are very well versed in funding, very well versed in pitching, very well versed in how do you operationally run a startup. So I invite you to come, and I would ask that you spread the word to any women who would like to be entrepreneurs either now or in the future. So that's pretty exciting for us. You also have a whole bunch of other events happening. But first, I want to concentrate on something that I know is also dear to Matt's heart. We again have a very robust program for Camp Infinity, which is our 1-week summer camps for girls in 5th to 6th grade and 7th to 8th grade. And we're running quite a few of those this year. But registration has now opened. We're doing a camp in Anchor Bay on the week of June 17th. We're doing a camp at the University of Michigan in Dearborn the week of June 24th. The week of July 8th, we'll be doing a camp at Oakland University and another one at Wayne County Community College. The week of July 15th, we'll be running a camp at Davenport University and also Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo. The week of July 22nd, we'll be running a camp at Lake Michigan College in Benton Harbor and another one at the Northern Michigan University in Marquette. July 28th through the 2nd, we'll be running a camp at Saginaw Valley University in Saginaw and another one at Lansing Community College in Lansing, Michigan. Now, the curriculum differs a bit by the age of the girls. For girls who are in grades 5th through 8th, 5th through 6th, the programming involves programming dash robots using block-based coding and creating animations and games. And then the girls through 7th through 8th, it's elevated a little bit. And their program will consist of things like constructing fully functioning apps using the MIT App Inventor and enhancing critical thinking and problem-solving skills through programming Lego Spike Prime robots. So it's open now. If you have a girl who fits those age groups, I would really suggest that you go to our website, you touch the K through 12 programs. All the registrations are there, including every single one of those venues that I mentioned. And girls can register now. And the registration is pretty simple. It's a 1-page registration sheet. You pay a little bit of money to do it. It's not very much, considering that the girls get a 1-week experience. And it's a great way to spend a week this summer if you're a young girl. Then also in terms of programs, coming up on March 19th, we're doing a new member welcome program. We have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 members every year. And of course, there's a cycle, right? People move, people join other organizations, and we always get a whole big influx of new people who come in, sometimes through their corporate partnerships or sometimes individually. Well, that virtual program will run from 6 to 7 at night on March 19th. So just acquaint new members with what MCWT is, all the opportunities that it represents, including our leadership programs, as well as our girls programs, and asking them to, to participate as volunteers, because again, in my mind, that's the way to get the best benefit out of MCWT always. Then on April 17th, we begin another cohort for Elevate. Elevate is a program that was started by a woman I know pretty well, who decided to pull it together and get MCWT to host it. And now we're really excited about it. It's an MCWT member benefit for current and former first line to middle managers. And the 6-week program uniquely combines peer group networking, curriculum and senior leaders, speakers who come and speak about career development, as well as how to take advantage of professional networking. There are first line to middle managers who can join. And if you'd like to join as a speaker, I would suggest you also get in touch with us. April 17th is the first day meeting for the cohort, and it will be at our office in Southfield, running that evening from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then our biggest event of the spring is coming up pretty fast, the Executive Connections Summit. That summit, as you may remember last year, Mike, I think you were there, has about 1,000 people rolling in throughout the day. And it aims to connect technology leaders across the state of Michigan, facilitating their insights on how technology can make our lives better, getting people thinking about everything that's new and different and exciting and what will be out in the future. This year, the focus is on how technology is addressing challenges in both our states and right down to our local communities, while building momentum and celebrating the impact of all of our partners. As you know, we have about 150 partner companies, and they tend to be technology companies of all sizes, and then companies that deploy technology. So Blue Cross Blue Shield is a big sponsor. GM is a big sponsor. So the theme for this year's summit has not been fully baked, fully formalized. So when I come on, if I come on again in April, I'll be able to give you a bigger agenda for that event. But I would say, if you have an opportunity, please mark it on your calendar, do a save the date of some kind.
What was it? What was that date again?
May 14th.
Okay.
And it will again be taking place in Novi at the Suburban Collection Showplace, because it's a big event, as you remember. Last year, I think we had 15 formal sponsors, 30 informal sponsors, and then close to 1,000 people at it. So it requires a big space. Then from a fun perspective, we're doing a much smaller event on April 8th. Ahead, who's again one of our 150 partners, is sponsoring Uncork a Good Cause, which is a wine tasting fundraiser. And that's going to take place at the Norwood at 6531 Woodward in Detroit. And then finally, since I'm talking about events, as you know, we run three major fundraisers a year, and then some smaller fundraisers. Like last month, we had our Red Wings event, if you remember, and that turned out really well. Our male allyship program pulled that together, and we made money out of that. We'll make money out of this small wine tasting. But the biggest events that help us raise money for our scholarship program, which again, we're close to $2 million in scholarships now that we've given out over a 20-year period. And of course, our girls' camps, and then our leadership programs, and then a whole bunch of things that we give back. We do three major fundraisers. Two of them are golf classics. So please save the date if you can for the Southeast Michigan 2024 MCWT Golf Classic. It'll take place on July 22nd, 2024. And again, it's going to be at Indianwood in Lake Orion, which we've had it there for almost 10 years now, and they do a nice job hosting us. And then a few years back, we started a West Michigan version of our golf classic. That's going to take place in Caledonia, Michigan at the Stonewater Country Club. And that will be taking place on the 16th of September. And then finally, the IT prom comes up in November. The MCWT Signature Gala will be taking place, and that is black tie or close to it. Most of the women I know dress up a lot, so the guys can come either way usually, but they should be sort of semi-formally dressed if they're going to have a good time and take pictures, right? So in any case, that is going to be taking place on the 9th of November at MGM Grand in Detroit. And there will be sponsorships announced over the summer and lots of ways to participate in that, as well as the golf outings. We'll probably be announcing the sponsorship program for the July golf outing. I would suggest that the May will probably open up sponsorship for that, because those go super fast. Everybody wants to sponsor these three events because it's fun, as well as helping give to a good cause.